Jarrad Davis is a guy that I actually saw last night. I was checking out a Gruden quarterback camp with Josh Dobbs, and they talked about him soliciting a spy because of the athleticism getting out of the pocket, and that being Jarrad Davis against Florida, and that Josh Dobbs was sometimes able to make some plays on Jarrad Davis, and other times Jarrad Davis on him. Jarrad Davis, Zack Cunningham, a couple more SEC players that could go fairly early.
Yeah, and Davis, I think the injuries were the only thing with him, kind of nagging injuries throughout his career a little bit. But I think when you take a look at where he is now, I think he's surpassed Zack Cunningham and the Raekwon McMillans. And, Cunningham, I think some talent evaluators that I respect very highly had Cunningham as one of the top players in this year's draft. And we talk about the value and the importance of the combine and what it means to your draft stock. Well, you run a 4.7 40 nowadays as a middle linebacker, it's like a death sentence. And I think because of that, someone's going to get a very talented player in the second round with a Zack Cunningham. But yeah, I think Jarrad Davis is probably in that back end of the first round conversation in terms of the inside. And then Raekwon McMillan, another guy here on day 2 that's going to be selected somewhere between round 2 and round 3.
Yeah, with Zack Cunningham, here's a guy that just cleaned up the SEC in terms of total tackles. Now, you could argue the Vanderbilt defense was usually solid, but always on the field because the offense was 3 and out. So he had tons of opportunities, but he was always in the top 2 or 3 over the last couple of years of his career in the SEC in tackles. So Raekwon McMillan. So I'm interested to get your feel on, here's a guy that was a star in college, obviously at an elite school, why he's a bit down. Is it just a bit of lack of athleticism sideline to sideline?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. I think maybe the combine hurt him a little bit, not testing as well as some of the other players ahead of him. I think when you have such evenly matched players, that could be a deciding factor. But his draft grades have been all over the board, so it's kind of hard to get a read on him. I think he's a guy that can definitely come in and make an immediate impact, but I just think that all the players we mentioned are just graded above him, and it's a pretty solid class of linebackers, and he's just having trouble cracking that first round mix. But I think he's on the outside looking in and not too far of a drop off in my opinion.